Hi, my name is Selena DeLessie, and this is my practical exam for my 200-hour yoga teacher training at Samadhi Yoga Ashram. For my practical exam, I selected to focus on the pose Kontrasana, otherwise known as bridge pose or shoulder pose. Now, before I get into the actual pose, I'd like to share a story that links together with it first. In the great Indian epic Ramayana, Queen Sita is abducted by the demon king Ravana, and she's taken away and held captive on the island of Lanka. Now, Hanuman, who is the monkey superhero, he flies and he flew over to Lanka to tell Queen Sita that she was going to be rescued, that help was on the way. Now, unfortunately, the others in the army that he was the leader of was unable to fly, so they had to find another way to get over there. So Lord Rama, he asks and tells the army to build a land bridge over from the southeastern tip of India, where they are, to the island of Lanka. So all of the bears and monkeys in the army, they start collecting and moving rocks and stones and placing them in the sea. And unfortunately, they all sink to the bottom. And as they watch them sink, their hearts sink with it, and wondering how it is that they're going to build this bridge and how they're going to save Queen Sita. Now, Hanuman, he's a special guy. He has a lot of love for Lord Rama, and for him, he's like the Lord personified, and he has so much love for him that he's known to be writing Rama, Rama everywhere he goes. And he even has Rama like on his heart, written on his heart. It is known that he has that. So while they're on the beach area with the sea on the land, he starts writing Rama on different stones and rocks and putting them into the sea. And to his surprise, the rocks and stones start to float. It is with his love and faith of Rama and his complete devotion that has allowed these stones and rocks to float in the water. So they see this happening, and all of the other animals start to do the same. They start to write Rama on the rocks and stones and placing them in the water. And in no time, they suddenly had a causeway from the southeastern tip of India all the way to the island of Lanka that allowed the entire army to walk all the way across it to go rescue Queen Sita. So that was a beautiful story. I thought I hadn't known that before I looked into this pose. So there's a gift and an invitation with the story in connection with bridge pose. As in the story, we're connecting different parts of, lands and different characters or archetypes in the story with, they connect with different parts of ourselves. So the parts of our mind and our heart and our soul with our body. And an invitation that we have with our asana practice is to reflect and contemplate different parts of ourselves and the nature of our being in the universe while we're in an asana pose. So one thing that you can focus on in this one, in the Kontrasana pose, is what is your governing thoughts or your mantra. A mantra is something that allows us to bridge together our current or old self with our new transformed self, and to keep growing ourselves into a new way of being. And with this particular one, it helps to activate our heart or Anahata chakra with our Vishuddha, our throat chakra, with our Muladhara, our root chakra, and our Manipura, our solar plexus. So the governing thought with this one in particular, there's a lot of heart opening happening, is to focus on what is it that I am choosing to embrace to help to bridge together all the disparate parts of myself, and also to strengthen my heart, to strengthen my way of being in my love, so that I can withstand whatever it is that life throws at me. Okay, so let's get into the pose, Kontrasana. There are a lot of benefits with this particular pose because it's activating so many of our energy centers as well as different parts of our body. So one of the benefits is that it is stretching and realigning and strengthening our spine. And when we strengthen our spine, we also are able to strengthen our nervous system. And as we strengthen our nervous system, we are able to bring together a stronger willpower and ability to handle what life throws at us. We're also stretching our thighs, our front of our thighs, and our hips, our abdominal, and our chest and our shoulders are opening up. And we're strengthening our back body in this pose. We're strengthening our hamstrings, our glutes, our back and our spine, our shoulders, and our arms as they're pressing down into the ground. The other really cool thing about this pose is that in the pose, which I'll show you, we are activating our throat chakra, which connects in and activates our thyroid glands. When this happens, we are stimulating healthier hormone production in our body so that our metabolism improves and other things that connect in with the hormones produced in our thyroid glands are improving as well. We're also stimulating and activating our lungs, so anyone with asthma or bronchial conditions are able to provide or receive support for those conditions. And the other great one for women in particular is that it stimulates and activates and tones the reproductive organs for females. So women who are struggling with miscarriages, infertility, menopause, or even just menstruation, it helps to provide more appropriate support in that area to activate all of the right parts of that area, including our estrogen production, to help to balance that. When that gets balanced, women who've had trouble with miscarriages can see an improvement to not have that anymore. Menopausal symptoms will be more balanced, energy increases, fatigue reduces, and there's increased support for bone strength and function, in particular for those with osteoporosis or who maybe are leading in that direction. And finally, this particular pose helps to calm the brain and provide support for depression, anxiety, and mild depression. So those are a lot of great benefits. The contraindications, anyone with an abdominal hernia should not be doing this pose, as well as anyone with neck injuries or knee injuries. Consider only under close supports with a very well-educated teacher. And anybody who has peptic or dual dental ulcers should not be doing this pose. If someone is pregnant, either do not do the pose or ensure that you're doing it only with a limited range of motion up to maybe 15 centimeters of your buttocks off the ground. Okay? Okay, so let's get into the pose. So in order to do this pose, we're going to first lay down on our backs, and I'll take you through it from there. So we lay down on our back in Shavasana, corpse pose. And when you're laying down, you want to kind of tuck your shoulders underneath you, so they're kind of going in so your chest is more open. And then 1 foot at a time, lift and bend your knees and placing your foot on the ground. Now when you're in this pose, you want to make sure that your feet and your ankles more specifically are aligned underneath your knees. So you're not out like this where your knees are pointing really far forwards, and you're not back out where it's not lined up. So we want to be in a place where our lower legs are a 90-degree angle with the ground. Okay? So in this pose, we're going to press up equally with all 4 corners of the foot and lift our buttocks off the ground and lift our chest off the ground. We want to make sure that our heels are in line with our sit bones, so make adjustments if you need to. And, sense or notice if there's a mirror, if your knees are aligned over your ankles. In this pose, the next thing you're going to do is clasp your hands underneath you, and then just kind of wiggle your arms under so your shoulders are coming together and opening on the front line. And press your arms and your pinky fingers into the ground. So lift up as high as you can comfortably without harming yourself. And we hold in this pose for as long as comfortable, maybe 15 to 20 seconds. And just breathe slowly and deeply. Now when we got into this posture, we wanted to inhale ourselves up. And then when we let go and release the posture, we're going to exhale slowly down. So while we stay up here, we just inhale slowly and focusing our awareness on the flexion of the spine, on the back, or on your navel center, your abdomen, or on your throat. You can also focus on your heart. Wherever your awareness is brought is perfectly fine. And just continue to press up evenly through your feet, drawing your chest towards your head and trying to lengthen your tailbone towards your feet. And then on an exhale, we release downwards, releasing our hands and releasing our back slowly to the ground. Okay, there are a couple of adjustments that we can make to provide more support for this pose. So one is to place a blanket slightly rolled, maybe a couple of layers, underneath the shoulders to provide more support for the neck. Another thing that you can do is take a bolster or a block and provide support for your lower back. So if we press up, inhale, and then we can place the block right underneath your lower back to provide support there if you're having troubles with that. You still receive all of the energetic benefits of the posture without holding the support in your low back, in your legs and your glutes. Now for clarity, when we're holding this pose, the strength should be coming from your hamstrings and your glutes. And you will receive the benefits in your spine as well, but also in your shoulders. Release downwards. Another thing that you can try is splitting your block between your legs here. And this is to help to keep our alignments working properly and engaging our legs properly as we're doing the pose. So we want to be having our inner thighs rotating downwards, and by placing a block between our legs, we're able to push up and keep that inner rotation working properly so that all of the rest is working and aligned properly. So exhale down. Now a great counter pose for this, to stretch things out on the back body, is to just tuck your legs into your chest and gently roll side to side. And then when you're ready, you can just gently come up. For this particular flow, it's a really great pose to do before or after a forward bending asana. And it's a really great preparatory pose to do before going into wheel pose, chakrasana. So for this pose, there are so many benefits for your body physically, but also for your energy system to help to provide support in releasing energy blockages in different parts of your system, and also for helping to open your heart so that you can experience and feel more love and compassion for yourself and for others, to speak more clearly, to feel grounded and rooted and safe, and to connect back in with your source of your own power and your will to walk forwards in your life. So I hope that you've learned something and enjoyed something in this particular video, and thank you so much. Namaste.